cut the pleasantries and get straight into it, shall we?
Tipping Liverpool to stay up this year.
Thanks for explaining how the Premier League works then.
Enjoy that now.
No.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Football Times podcast with myself, RadioTimes.com sport editor Michael Potts, and I'm joined in the studio by Mr. Jake Wilson of BBC Match of the Day magazine. How are you doing, sir? You alright? Sick fade, son.
Thanks, bruh. Yep, second haircut after lockdown. Went for the old skin fade. £23 lighter in the wallet, but does it feel good?
Fair play. I paid a man like £32 to cut my hair, and he didn't really cut it much. So
yeah, that's a lot of hair you've got left, mate.
It's quite a lot, isn't it? Like, I said to leave it long. Anyway, yeah, I said to leave it long, but you know, that's
£32. We do live in London.
Yeah. Like that's quite a lot of money for not a lot of hair removed. Moving swiftly into the weekend of Premier League action, we've got 3 big old derby games coming up, and we're going to basically tell you how to watch them all and why you should, as well as a little ramble about, well, we've got Wolves. Look, Wolves and Sunderland, that's what you're listening to right now. And neither of us are particularly happy, so we just wanted to take a little vain moment to rant. We'll come to that in a bit. And then we'll tell you how to lose a Fantasy Premier League. Although, to be fair, I'm doing quite well. Shall we get started, shall we? First up, Saturday, it's a 5:30 kickoff on Sky Sports Premier League main event. And now it's Chelsea versus Fulham, a West London derby, my friends. Let's start with Chelsea, I guess. Chelsea, very good performance against Real Madrid. Probably. They would have taken a 1-1 draw before the game. Probably feel like they could have won that one in a Champions League semi-final. They had enough chances to do so.
Definitely. What a massive week for Chelsea. Real Madrid and then the Idiger Johnson derby at the weekend. Absolutely huge. But yes, I think they should have won. Real Madrid basically created nothing other than the goal Benzema scored. Benzema, wonderful player. Hopefully we'll touch on him another time. But Chelsea are the epitome of defending and how it works. Because if you do defend very well and create chances yourself, it's likely that you're going to do all right, isn't it?
Tuchel's sort of this fashionable coach, you'd say. He's been at some fashionable clubs and yeah, he's just a fashionable option. And yet, he actually plays quite pragmatic football. It's not all pretty all the time. He's grinding out wins, he's grinding out good results, he's sort of, going about it pragmatically, and he's superb in a knockout context. He's not afraid to upset a few players and ruffle a few feathers and leave a few people out for the good of the team. We've heard this before with Chelsea. It's very Mourinho-like. Is this the special one, 2.0? And who knows? Maybe it's too early to say. But I'm genuinely convinced Chelsea are going to win the Champions League. I've thought about it for a little while. Yeah, they just know how to get through knockout games. They've already beaten Manchester City recently in a knockout situation. They just know how to dig deep and can sort of get clean sheets on command. And I think that's such a Mourinho trait. I'm not saying they're identical managers or anything, but there's a lot of similarities, I think, between the two, and I can see that working really well for them this year.
It's all set up for them to win it. Real Madrid aren't the Real Madrid that we know. They're lagging behind in the La Liga title race, really. And then if they do get past Real Madrid after being at Stamford Bridge, then they've got either Man City, who, like we said, just beat them in the FA Cup semi-final, or PSG, where Tuchel and Thiago Silva have the inside track. If you want an insight into the dressing room of Mbappe and Neymar, you've got the two men that will hopefully be able to figure that out. Chelsea defend so well. Rudiger has come back brilliantly. Azpilicueta playing. They really have set up strong, and that those foundations allow Chelsea to create chances and even miss them. A lot has been spoken about Timo Werner getting a higher XG than Real Madrid in that game. But if they can create the chances to give Werner that, he won't miss forever. Or if they play Abraham, for example, Abraham will tuck them away, or Pulisic, like he did, will make a chance count. And I think at the bridge against Real Madrid, those small little chances, one of them will go in, and I'm not sure that Real Madrid will get one in. And we spoke about a lot here about Chelsea playing one team in white. At the weekend, they're playing another team in white, who maybe don't quite have the squad depth of a Real Madrid. They don't have the Brazilian wonder kids, but
not quite.
It's going to be hard for Fulham to break that back line down.
And also one thing that Fulham and Real Madrid don't have or won't have is Marcelo playing for them in the next leg after he's been called up, which is the best football story in a long time. He's been called up to serve in a polling station on election day in Madrid. It's sort of a duty that all citizens have to partake in. Spanish citizens. He is obviously a Spanish citizen, even though he is Brazilian. And so Marcelo apparently. But it's not all bad. It's not all bad because apparently you get £56 for it.
Wow!
That's what I've heard. Apparently you get a little bit of compensation for doing it. So spend it wisely. Coming up this weekend, obviously Real Madrid is still another few days away. Chelsea, there's still a lot to play for. In the league. Going into the top four battle. I mean, they're starting to edge their way back, quite firmly into that top four. But I think games like this against Fulham are because they don't have a perfect record. They don't have a perfect record in the Premier League. They've still dropped points here and there, and that West Brom game was mad, utterly mad. So you maybe, as good as they are at digging deep and digging in, and there's not those knockout games against good teams, you kind of feel like they still need to learn how to pick apart those teams who dig deep and sit in. Whether Fulham are capable of that, not quite sure. I don't think they really can dig deep and dig in and sit back to defend. So it should be an exciting game to see what goes on at both ends of the table as well. Fulham, Last Chance Saloon has opened its doors again from the 12th of April outside with heaters and blankets. But Fulham are very much drinking at it. If they lose this weekend, Brighton, if they beat Leeds and Fulham lose, they'd be 10 points adrift of Brighton with 12 to play for and at least 9 points away from the rest of the pack. If Fulham are to stay up, they have to beat Chelsea. Jake Wilson, are they going to beat Chelsea?
No. How can you bet on anyone to beat Chelsea right now? Fulham, I'm sure they will give it a good go, and a draw doesn't look out of the realms of possibility, but I can't bank against Chelsea at all. I did so saying that West Ham and Leicester would finish in the Champions League spaces. I really shouldn't have done that because I knew how brilliant Chelsea were defensively, and pragmatism works. So yeah, I think Chelsea will win. Unfortunately, Fulham will go down. But they're in a great place, Fulham, if they do go down, to come back stronger. Scott Parker in charge. Not too many players will be leaving. I think they're in a good space.
Yeah, it's weird that they're in a good place and yet they're probably almost certainly going down. Be an interesting one to see how that all develops. Moving on to Super Sunday. It's another derby game. It's Manchester United versus Liverpool. This is not the European Super League. This is very much the Premier League. It's live on Sky Sports Premier League. Main event, and now from 4:30. We've talked about Man United quite a bit, so I reckon Liverpool's the place to go here. Liverpool not quite as explosive as they would like to be, but I actually think still kind of admirable form. I don't know if that's a too positive look on them. Is that too positive? I don't think they've done all that badly recently. They've won a lot of games. I mean, their last three have just been a little bit sort of, we just want the season to end now. Obviously, such a gutting last-minute equaliser from Joe Willock from against Newcastle. They drew against Leeds as well, which is disappointing. They just need that season to end, really, don't they?
They've thrown it away. They still had a shot at the Champions League, but with that equaliser, 95th minute, Joe Willock, they have thrown any chance away, and it frustrates me because they were wasteful again. Mohamed Salah put them in front really early with a lovely finish, and they had 22 shots in the game against Newcastle. I mean, 9 were on target, and quite a few of those didn't force miraculous saves out of Dubravka. And Klopp can't do anything about that. He stood on the sidelines bemused about it. And then you could see it coming. They had the one that was ruled out for Callum Wilson, and they had that bit of fortune, and they still didn't get out, and they got pinned back by Newcastle. And fair play to Newcastle, they deserve the point easily, but they've thrown it away, and I think we can give them a bit of leeway because it's such an odd season, and they've had so many injuries, and this, even the players that are still there, the fatigue that I think those players and most players in the league are feeling mentally and physically from this training season. Basically, we stopped, but we didn't really stop from last season. So I think there's that, but the Premier League is ruthless, and if you're not going to be ruthless, then you're not going to get what you want, and Liverpool aren't getting what they want this season.
Fully agree with the clinical nature of it. I think that when I'm saying admirable, I'm not saying it's been fantastic at all. And like I agree with you in that it's been frustrating, and that you turn those 2 draws into 2 wins, and suddenly everything's looking rosy, and you've made the most of a bad season. But I do just think how many of the teams would have dealt with the injuries and the reshuffling, and I know they've got a few players back now, but still without sort of 2 or 3 of the spine of their team. I don't want to keep going on about it because it's just boring, but I just think in the circumstances they've kind of done what we would expect any other team to do. I think they're not far away from winning these games, but like I said, that clinical issue is obviously the one, isn't it? It's getting Mane firing again. I think Mane is the one for me who I've been kind of most disappointed by. We know Firmino's not the prolific 20, 30 goal striker you would expect from sort of a top level centre forward. He's not that type of player. We know, Salah's been still pretty consistent throughout. He's still scored those important goals. Mane just adds that little extra bit of spice, that little extra bit of salt in that front 3. And it's such a shame that he hasn't been able to do that. But yeah, hopefully fatigue is it. Hopefully tiredness is it. Good job we haven't got a big European football tournament coming up this summer, eh? A nice 6-week break for everybody? Not. But maybe people like Mane who won't be involved in that big tournament, maybe this is a great chance and opportunity for him to rest, recuperate. Well, same as Salah. I guess that front 3, that entire front 3, they're not going to be playing this summer. And maybe this is just a good time to down tools in May. No cup finals to look forward to. Down tools in May, empty the tank before then, and come back in August fit and firing. I still fully expect Liverpool to be in a firm title challenge next year, not just a sort of second and that's it. I fully expect them to be in a firm title battle with City and United next season, I think. I can't.
And Chelsea, but yes, likewise, I agree.
Absolutely. What's your prediction for this one? We haven't really talked about Man United, but again, still going along fairly well. We're recording this before their Europa League semi-final, which is of massive importance for them. I guess it's probably more important for them than the actual Premier League coming up, because they will want to add some European silverware to their trophy cabinet. How do you see Liverpool, Man United going, or Man United Liverpool going this Sunday?
Yeah, Man United, consistent. They're not setting the world alight, but they are getting results. They are distracted by the Europa League. But in the Michael Owen derby, I am going Man United. I think a 2-1. I think there'll be goals for both sides. But I can't trust Liverpool anymore. And when I'm speaking to my Liverpool mates, they are very down about it. And like maybe us, Michael, with our teams, they are looking forward to that season ending, like you said. So Marcus Rashford on the counter-attack, destroying Kabak. Yeah, 2-1.
We're building up these rants. It's going to come. And here it is right now. It's West Brom versus Wolves on Monday Night Football. He puts his hood up because he's afraid of what he might say right now. West Brom v Wolves, Black Country Derby on Monday, 6 o'clock kickoff. Sky Sports Premier League main event. And now I'm just going to let you take the stage here. Talk to me about Wolves. Talk to me about this game. Who's going to win? What's going to happen? The show. I speak to people about Wolves on almost a daily basis.
And when I speak to new people, I did an interview this morning, and Wolves came up, and my go-to line at the minute is, we're the worst team in the league. We're not the worst team in the league, but we're not far off. You know, we used to be compact, and we used to be solid. We played that 5 at the back with the flying wing backs. We attack with pace. We were really direct, and we hurt teams on the counter. And when we were confident with the ball, but this season, slowly it is all eroded, and we're a bit lost. And I think everyone knows it, including Nuno. Obviously, injuries have played a massive role. Jimenez with his horrible head injury, but then we've also had Neves out, we've had Podence out, we've had Bolly out. Johnny's just done his ACL for the second time in a row. You know, that is some pretty awful luck. I could have gone on with that list. But that Burnley performance, 4-0, Burnley's biggest ever away win in the Premier League, was pretty abject, to be honest. We don't look settled. We don't look like we know particularly what we're doing, especially without Neto now too up top. Jose doesn't seem to have worked. That experiment, Traore is hit and miss still, but in the circumstances, he's playing quite well. Nuno has had a lot of praise for a long time, and rightly so. He's revolutionised Wolves along with Fosun. But this is a massive, massive summer for him. I think he needs backing, and I think he needs a break because he hasn't really had one. He hasn't seen his family a lot. Wolves need the season to end. It looks like they were playing like it already had, unfortunately. And I don't question the commitment of any of those players because they have all been so dedicated to the cause. But it just looks like, you know, with 5 games to go, it has all got a bit much for them. And hopefully there's a little bit of a kickback in the Black Country Derby, because if it's ended for a game where they should be able to get up for it and get settled and get organised and do not want to get beaten. They beat us, you know, in January. So we can't let West Brom do the double on us and then potentially go down. That's not really okay. And yeah, it's a stressful one, this one. I'm not looking forward to watching it for sure. I haven't really looked forward to watching a Wolves game for a couple of weeks, you know, if not months now, unfortunately. And I hate to say that because I do love the Wolves and I want them all the success, and I don't want any of the main players to change. They just need backing and rest, and yeah, we'll take it on again next season, I think.
I am fascinated to see how teams come back next year. I genuinely think we could see more shocks. Like, are West Ham this completely finished article now, where they're sort of high flying in the league? Sort of in the old world, sort of with fans there. The last time we were all in grounds, sort of Villa were nowhere to be seen, and West Ham were nowhere to be seen. Wolves were high flying. Like, Liverpool were winning the league. City were inconsistent. Like, are we going to go back to some sort of that, or is this the new normal where all the where West Ham actually will sort of have these full grounds and still be flying away, and that's it? And I'll be very, very interested to see. I think we could be in some sort of radical shift arounds next season, once we all get back into stadiums and crowds and fans and all that sort of jazz. I'd be really interested to see how it works. Interesting about Nuno, I was going to ask the question, sort of, would your finger sort of be stroking the trigger right now?
No. There's more talk that Spurs might be interested in him. And even though he doesn't look the same Nuno that we've known, I don't want him to leave. I've got full backing in him that he'll sort this out, and he just needs a bit of time and, you know, a bit of recovery like everyone else does. We're all exhausted. I feel exhausted watching football at the minute. Even, you know, the Man City PSG wonder game that we just experienced, I felt fatigued in that. So how the players and the managers and the staff, they must feel it, but only double or more. So yeah, give him a bit of rest, give him a summer, back him. Hopefully he comes back refreshed next year, as do the squad, and I talk about Wolves in glowing terms in the future.
Absolutely, we hope. So what's your prediction for this one then against Wolves? Wolves versus West Brom versus Wolves. I keep saying them the wrong way around. West Brom versus Wolves on Monday Night Football. What are you gonna go for?
The Johnny and Lescott derby, and West Brom need to win this if they're going to have any chance to stay up. I can't predict a Wolves win as much as I want to because of all the things I've just said. But a 1-1 draw keeps us, okay. We'll just move on from it and does West Brom no favours, which we'll be very happy with.
Absolutely. And now I'm going to take this opportunity to have a little ramble about my boys in the Northeast. We were, Sunderland, obviously, we're in League One. We're not having a great time. We were having a great time. We had actually enjoyed this 12-game unbeaten run. We got taken over by a French-Swiss billionaire, trust fund kid, and came through. His family owned Marseille. Kirill Louis Dreyfus came through, bought the club, kept the faith in Lee Johnson, who was a fairly new manager. He's come in over the last 6 months or so. We ended up going on this 12-game unbeaten run. 12-game unbeaten run, which was mad considering where we were. I think we won 9 of those as well. Our big problem was a lot of draws before that. And we basically got ourselves to within, I think we had 2 games in hand. And if we'd won those 2, we would have been top of the league and it was in our hands. The first week that happened, I think we drew with Peterborough, who was second. That was a big game. Then lost to Charlton. And yeah, basically since that 12-game run came to an end, we have now gone winless in 6. We are absolutely rock bottom, 24th of the League One form table, just in time for the playoffs, which, I mean, kill me. It's very bad. We have Charlie Wyke, who has scored 30 goals in all competitions this season, which is fantastic. He's out of contract in the summer and attracting lots of interest from the Championship, from his hometown of Middlesbrough. Basically, half of our squad is out of contract this summer because they didn't offer any extensions with all the COVID stuff and not knowing which league we're going to be in. Aidan McGeady's getting a year older. Everything is bad. Literally everything is bad. Jordan Willis, our 26-year-old sort of main centre-back for a while, star centre-back for a while, he's been ruled out for most of the season. We've been playing a centre midfielder at right back, a 5'7" centre midfielder at centre back, a right back at centre back on loan from Wolves, Dion Sanderson, and a League Two left back. Our backup left back. We've had an absolute shocker in terms of injuries, but we still managed for a while, and now it's all crumbled and gone to pot. So it looks like another season of League One next year. It looks like a 4th season of League One, unless we can basically turn everything around. But what I was saying there, Jordan Willis, again, a bit like Johnny, what you're saying there, he's been out for most of the season with an injury. He's had surgery, and now he's had surgery again, and has just been ruled. He was just ready to come back into it all, apparently, and now he's out for another 9 to 12 months. We've just been told. So we've signed him up to a new year deal, and he's basically injured for 9 months of that deal. So it's pretty bad. You're going to need to hold me in the next few weeks. You're going to need to hold me. There's only 2 games left. No chance of automatic promotion. And yeah, I mean, I celebrated a late equaliser against Charlton the other day. Otherwise, the playoff spot would have been in doubt. So
it's a rough old season, this, mate. And I think, the players definitely, we spoke about that burnout, but it's burnout for the fans too. If your team hasn't been one of the lucky few that have managed this without super loads of injuries, it's been a tough old time. And I feel your pain then.
We all just need it to end. I'm not saying I've run out of enthusiasm for the football, but in this season, yes, I have. But hopefully the Euros, as we lift the European Championship trophy, I'm sure we'll all get our vibe back for the beautiful, beautiful game. Finally, before we wrap up, a bit of fantasy Premier League chat. Guess who captained Kelechi Iheanacho last week?
Ooh.
Oh yeah, a nice little 24 points with a captain for Kelechi. If you haven't got him, get him. And I've made a couple of changes already for the weekend. I've gone and taken out. I've made 3 changes, so I'm battling quite hard here, taking a couple of hits.
Point hits at this point of the season, Michael.
I'm fine with that. It's really tight in the league, and I feel like I need to just a couple of little gambles. So I've gone with Azpilicueta out, Jota out, and the Cavani shout it backfired in the end. So Azpilicueta, Jota and Cavani out, and I've gone with Stuart Dallas, who I just haven't had in all season. Stuart Dallas in. They've got some great fixtures, Leeds coming up, so take a look at some Leeds players. Dallas comes in, Son comes in with Sheffield United up next, and Vidra comes in from Burnley. I wanted Chris Wood, a bit expensive. Vidra, 4.8 million. He's getting a few assists, getting a few goals. Burnley are playing this quite expansive style of football at the minute. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but I watched the game the other day against Wolves. They absolutely destroyed him. Sorry about that. So I fancy Vidra, even just as a bench option. He's so cheap and he's playing every week. I'm backing Vidra to do something before the season is out.
I like those shouts, Michael. I like them. Mine's pretty settled. My big debate is Kane or Kelechi, my captain this week. I'm leaning Kane. The fixture looks too good. Sheffield United at home, but Kelechi, he's got form on his side, and Southampton away. There's goals in that game for him. So, and I think at this point of the season, I'm basically hanging on to second place in my main league because I can't catch first, but. I'd like second. That would be nice. I'll take silver for this year and go again next. And getting that decision right, Kane or Kelechi, is going to be big for that, I think.
Do you have how many points have you got? Do you have it to hand?
Total points?
Yeah.
My total overall points are 2,026.
Oh, that's quite good, That's actually very good. You're nearly 100 points ahead of me. I'm on 1932, 1,932. I had a big week last week, 63. So I'm clawed it back a bit.
I got exactly that as well.
Interesting.
Ooh, maybe we have the same side now. Maybe the same side.
Yeah, top of my league has 2,113. Then there's pretty much a near 200-point gap to second place. And then from second, third, fourth, fifth, we have 1940, 1938, 1932, and 1931. So there's 9 points separating four of us in the battle for second. I've just taken an 8-point hit there, which is ballsy. But I'm backing myself over the next few weeks to make up that ground. Any big tips for us? Any big shouts for us? I'm backing Kane as a captain. I just don't think it can go against Kane, especially under Mason, who might want to just open the traps a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah. If you've got Matheus Pereira, I don't want to say pick Matheus Pereira against Wolves, but if he's on your bench, maybe just slide him onto the starting lineup. He's got one big moment left in him as Matheus, I think, to get that summer move, and it could well come again against the old gold.
It's not a bad shout. Very quickly before we let you go, Mr. Wilson, tell me what's coming up in Match of the Day magazine this week.
Well, it is a UCL Dream Team issue, and if you've been as excited and enjoying the Champions League as much as me and Michael have, then maybe your kids have too, and they want to know the best players in the Champions League this season, who's got the most goals, who's kept the goals out of the other end, who's set the tempo. We've got our dream team. We've also got some sick posters and a Premier League boss skittle game in the magazine, which is a lot of fun, Michael. You'd like that one, I think, specifically. And loads of match attacks too. So it's just a full, brilliant, great package of £3.50, and it's worth every single penny, if I do say so myself, Michael.
Very, very good. Go out and get yourself a copy of BBC Match of the Day magazine. That sounds good to me. Skittles. Like bowling? Yeah.
Yeah, like bowling. You can knock over Steve Bruce and he goes flying.
Wouldn't we all like to? Moving on, thank you very much for joining me, Mr. Wilson. You can come to radiotimes.com/TV/sport for all the latest sporting previews. We have the World Snooker Championship, which I am glued to at the moment. We're bringing you all the times and schedule and everything you need to know about that to enjoy it over the weekend. It's the final on Sunday and Monday, so come and join in, have a look at all the scheduled times and soak up every moment of it. Thank you very much for listening, and see you next week. Cheers.